motivation. Then I will read the motivation as last session, the bodhicitta. Then can you set up Dhammadipa's screen as well? So everyone, please generate good motivations for today's teaching. So let me chant these very precious prayers, of bodhicitta from the Bodhicitta Avatar's teachings. Chanjo semjo rimbo nche manjem panam kengyur keba nyamba meba yang kone kondo pewa sho. O precious and sublime bodhicitta, may it arise in those in whom it has not arisen. May it arise. May it never decline where it has arisen, but go on increasing further and further. Thank you very much, Hong.
So
yes,
start.
You can start now. It's now your time. Thank you very much.
So before we start, it is very important to understand that actually Shamatha is the appeasement of the mind. And actually in all Buddhist traditions, even though explained in a different way, actually the mind is originally clear. What we are actually removing by practicing shamatha is like removing, according to the scriptures, it is like removing like removing the iron, lump, zinc, and all kinds of inferior substances from the pure gold. The true mind is compared to the pure gold. There is a famous saying in Anguttara Nikaya, Pabhasaram idam chitam agantukehi upakilisehi upaklitam. This chitta, this mind, is luminous, and it is colored, or it is defiled, or it is made impure by the defilements, which are like guests to the mind. They are not real. They are like guests to the mind. Now, because of our previous karma, our previous defilements, and our previous birth, there are three kinds of impurities in us: karma, defilements, and birth, which we have been undergoing since innumerable times, if we are believing in Buddhism. So we don't actually see this pure nature of the mind. In the Theravada tradition, at least the Abhidharma tradition, this Prabhasara Chitta, Prabhasvara Chitta, this luminous mind, is explained as Bhavanga mind, or Alaya, as it is called in the northern tradition, in the Sanskrit tradition. The Bhavanga is called Alaya. And Bhavanga literally means in Sanskrit the cause of existence. according to Buddhism, the cause of existence actually is ignorance. Or now we have chanted the bodhicitta vows, the bodhicitta motivation. So it should not be ignorance, actually, when we practice the bodhisattva path. It uh, should be the vow or motivation to not, instead of ignorance, to make the the motivating power of rebirth, the compassion based on the great wisdom, not the differentiating wisdom, which is called in the non-dualistic tradition small wisdom, but the great wisdom. The great wisdom is called pragya paramita, the the perfection of wisdom. According to the sutras of the perfection of wisdom, actually the very nature of the mind, not just the bhavanga, not just that mind which links us from the previous existence to the next existence, and which is responsible for our continuity between the birth and the death. But the actually very nature of mind is luminous. However we interpret it, to understand shamatha, this is the most important beginning. We, so to say, we are, in the language of the scriptures, we are removing the obstacles which prevent us from seeing the bottom of the existence, or compared to bottom of the lake. We don't see the bottom of the lake because the water is colored, because the water is boiling, because the water is muddy, and so on. We will talk about it. Or we don't see the pure gold because it is mixed with inferior substances. If it is not mixed with inferior substances, actually our mind is a pure gold. And just like with a pure gold, we can do whatever ornaments we want to produce. This is a very famous treatise of Fazang in Chinese Buddhism, the simile of the gold lion. The gold lion and the purity of gold, they cannot be actually distinguished. So similarly, when we understand the nature of mind, we can actually use it to make all kinds of realities with the motivation of the compassion, with the motivation of benefiting the sentient beings, including ourselves, because we are also sentient beings. So last time I have mentioned the 5 obstacles called in Sanskrit nivaranas. These obstacles actually prevent us from seeing the purity of the mind. However we explain it, we don't see the purity of the mind, and we are unable to use this purity of the mind in our daily life. We all have experience of tension, of all kinds of inconveniences in using our mind, all kinds of obstacles. This is our daily life. We always want something, or we always don't want something. We always meet some situation which we do not know how to deal with wisdom. This is why we are not Buddhas, because the Buddhas, they meet all kinds of situation with wisdom, because their mind is of the nature of pure gold. So it doesn't happen in case of Buddha, but it happens in our case. Even if we are very good meditators, we still have obstacles. And because of these obstacles, we are not aware of the pure nature of the mind. So the first step in learning shamatha, which is the art of appeasement, the first step is to remove the obstacles. If strictly speaking, unless we have removed these obstacles, we cannot practice meditation in depth. It is impossible. We want to do it, but we won't be able to do it because we cannot, unless these obstacles are removed, we do not know how to tackle all kinds of situations in a correct way. No way. Because we don't see the bottom of the lake, we don't see the bottom of the mind. And so we react through other likings, dislikings, through our concepts about how the reality should be and how it is not. And therefore, we are in our behavior, in our thinking, in our speech, we are obstructing. This is not a disturbing thing if we have enough wisdom, but it is very, very disturbing thing when the wisdom is not there. Then we counter the obstacles in an incorrect way. If the wisdom is there, then we counter the obstacles in a more correct way so that we learn from the obstacles. When we don't have wisdom, we have obstacles, but we don't learn from obstacles. So let us see these obstacles again that we have learned last time and how to deal with them. What is the antidote of these obstacles and how to bring them to the mind. It's not enough just to see the antidotes, but we have to also know how to bring them to the mind so that we don't practice motivated by ignorance, we practice motivated by wisdom. And wisdom is always represented as a light, which illumines the nature of our experience. So we have to illumine the nature of our experience to deal with these obstacles correctly. The first obstacle is called kama raga. We have explained last time. Kama raga, for the lack of better translation, we translate as the desire for the or grasping at the five qualities of the objects of the five senses. We grasp at them because we grasp at them, therefore we are frustrated. That is why the Buddha explained the truth of stress, truth of suffering, the cause being the grasping. Grasping means cause of trouble. And this grasping is upadhi, jirsho, which means we want to appropriate something for ourselves. Due to the lack of understanding, we want to grab something as independent of its nature, independent of our concept, as something which is really there and belongs to us. We want it to enjoy only for ourselves. We want these qualities to enjoy only for ourselves, exclude everyone. So in this case, we are grasping due to ignorance, because ignorance disappears when the grasping disappears. Ignorance is there as long as grasping is there. So we want to enjoy the qualities of the objects of the five senses, and we want to appropriate them for ourselves as being only belonging to me. No one else has right. This is mine. So how to deal with it? What is the opposite of this trouble of the mind based on grasping? First of all, we have to understand the cause of grasping. When we grasp, we contemplate something that we like and that we want to possess. If we don't contemplate something that we like and we want to possess, we will not be grasping. So our mind has to be connected with some object we consider to be beautiful, which we consider to be ours, which we consider to be objectively object of liking. And we identify with our liking. So because we identify with this grasping of the object we like, therefore we experience kind of tension. This tension is kind of the background to stress or suffering. Now, according to the Pali scriptures, you will find in Visuddhimagga, in the path of purification, when the mind has one-pointedness, when the mind has samadhi, then there is no such grasping. The grasping is there because the mind has no samadhi. Mind is not balanced. So, according to Visuddhimagga, the opposite of this first obstacle is one-pointedness of the mind, or right concentration. We have right concentration because we have right mindfulness. There is no right concentration without right mindfulness. So when we have right mindfulness and right concentration, this need to possess for ourselves the objects of the five senses dissolves no more. It will not dissolve because we continue grasping, we continue to desire to possess these qualities, kama gunas, of the five senses. So the cause of kama raga in Sanskrit actually means coloring. Our mind is colored by desire. So according to the agamas, according to the scriptures, the state of kama raga, the state of grasping for the objects of the five senses, is compared to the lake being colored. When the lake is colored, when we throw some color into the lake or even into the glass, we don't see the bottom of the glass. Similarly, when the mind is colored by the desire to possess the qualities of the objects of the five senses, it will not be able to see the bottom of the heart. It will not be able to see the naturally pure quality of the mind, of the base of the mind, of the bottom of the lake. So this is the first obstacle, and because we aim of studying Buddhism is to reduce and ultimately to get rid, to remove the stress, the suffering. Therefore, it is presented first because the cause of suffering, according to Buddhism, is precisely grasping, upadhi, jisho. Because we grasp, we suffer. Now, not grasping is very, very difficult. That is, if we want to live a normal life, then it is almost impossible not to grasp. But the grasping has to be controlled by wisdom, by mindfulness and awareness. Mindfulness and awareness together, that is wisdom. And when we have mindfulness and awareness, automatically the concentration will come in. It will not be the one-pointed concentration yet, but it will be concentration which we need to not to lose the original clarity of the mind, so that we may have defilements, but we don't take them very seriously. If we don't have this mindfulness and awareness, we have the defilements and we either completely identify with them or we want to reject them by force. And then we are in trouble. This is kind of a sick state of mind. When we understand it, we become healthy. When we don't understand it, it is very difficult to become healthy. We always following our own likings or dislikings, which is in a way the source of all the defilements. Follow blindly. To follow liking and disliking is not bad in itself. That is why, according to Abhidharma Kosha, the liking and disliking, the raga and dvesha, they are neutral. We can, not in Theravada, they make it rather simple and practical. All grasping and all resistance is negative only. In Sanskrit tradition, there can be positive grasping, there can be positive resistance. But when we become really enlightened, then this liking and disliking will become, this tendency to liking and disliking will become completely neutral. We will completely stop in identifying with it. Now we identify with it, so then our wisdom has not yet reached the high levels, but we can contemplate these high levels. That is also part of studying the Buddhism, especially the Bodhisattva tradition. We can contemplate the high levels, and it can be very useful. In our case, we just try to see with wisdom the negative side of being obsessed by grasping to the objects of our liking. When we see this negative side of it, that is already wisdom. And when we have wisdom, the quality of life will be improved and mindfulness will become more and more natural, so that we live a more fulfilled life. So the opposite of kama raga, opposite of the grasping for the qualities of the five senses, is called in Sanskrit pratigha. Pratigha is also synonym of dvesha. But dvesha is rather strong. Dvesha means hate, dosa. But patigha means actually resistance. Prati means again, gha is from han, which means to kill, actually. To remove by force. We want to remove by force something that we don't like. So, according to the Pali tradition, the five hindrances are countered by five factors of the first dhyana. The first is kama raga, which is countered, as we have said, by one-pointed concentration. One-pointed concentration is a right concentration based on right mindfulness. So in that mind, the inconvenience of grasping, appropriating only for oneself the pleasant object, becomes object of the understanding of inconvenience of grasping. That is wisdom. Now, the in the 5 factors or causes of the first dhyana, we have joy, priti, or piti in Pali. When we have joy, we don't have resistance if our mind is more or less healthy. They are enjoying the giving suffering, enjoying resistance is not a healthy mind. But in healthy mind, the joy and resistance don't come together. When we resist something because we don't like that something. We don't like that object, like we want to possess because we like something. We resist because we don't like something. When we don't like something, there is a resistance. As Buddha explains the causes of suffering as being in presence of the persons we don't like, or being deprived of the persons we like, and so on. These are the conventional manifestations of suffering that we all know. These are very common. Now, from the point of view of the Abhidharma, especially the Pali Abhidharma, when we have joy, this is psychologically quite sound. When we have joy, we don't have resistance. That's why joy is a very important factor for making our existence more fulfilling. When we have joy, we don't search objects we want to resist, we want to remove. When we have deep experience of hating something, hating someone, so we don't have much joy in the life. So we have to do something about it. And what we do according to Buddhism about it when we have resistance, when we have hate, when we have anger, well, contemplate something beautiful. Because when we have hate, when we have anger, when we have resistance, we contemplate something non-beautiful. It is impossible to have anger, to have hate, unless we contemplate something we don't want, we don't like, which is terrifying to us. So here we are, we want to possess things of liking because we contemplate something beautiful, person or things, and we resist because we contemplate something non-beautiful, something we don't like. According to Buddhist psychology, this pratigha, this resistance, is the psychologically the cause of depressions, cause of worries, all these depressions, worries, sorrows, they won't stay long if we contemplate some beautiful objects. And according to Buddhism and all religions, in fact, the most beautiful object in the mind of the beings is love. When we contemplate love, not as we want to possess object of love, but as love without possession. This love is called in Buddhism Maitri, which literally means friendship. The true friendship, even in personal relations, even in the society, is the, as Visuddhimagga also explains, is the hita asaya. It is the tendency to be helpful, to be useful. When we have tendency to be useful, to be helpful, then we can have the best relations, starting with our partners, if we have any, with our family, children, with our surrounding neighbors, with our colleagues in work, and with our society. If we want to benefit, we will not have much anger, we will not have much hate, and we will be able to tolerate hate and tolerate anger because our attitude is of benefiting. Then we will not identify with our anger, with our hate. And there is so much suffering in the world, especially maybe in our modern times of the First World War, Second World War, of invasion and wars, and especially you in Vietnam, you are quite familiar with what I am speaking. So, what is the best medicine? To have the positive attitude, to have the hita ashaya, to have the tendency and to create the tendency to be helpful, to be useful. Then, when we want to be useful, the anger will not last, the hate will not last. And then we can create positive relations, starting with what is near to us and continuing to even to what is far from us. Starting with humans, and you can even have positive attitudes to non-humans. That is why Guru Rinpoche, the Buddha, the great beings, they could be very happy in company of enemies, and they only thought, like Milarepa, to make their enemies understand the inconvenience of hate, the suffering of hate, the suffering of anger, and the illusion of insisting in anger. So this anger is compared to the lake being muddy. In a muddy lake, we don't see the bottom, impossible. So these two, based on liking and disliking, they are in a way connected to all other defilements. Because the other defilements, the uh, the excitement and worry, udacha kukucha or audatyam kaukrityam, we translate for lack of better translation as excitement and worry, and the vichikitsa, which means the doubt, they are also always connected with some tendency to liking and disliking. And when these tendencies to liking and disliking, they are strong in us, then naturally we are subjected to lethargy. We are uh, lacking sensitivity. We don't see clearly. And when we don't see clearly, our mind and our body becomes heavy, not sensitive, because of identifying too much with liking and disliking. Of course, there are natural causes like myself, old age. We are not as sensitive, not as clear as we used to be. But still, it has to do with our previous habits of liking and disliking. So the next obstacle usually is called the Tinamida, the Styanamidham. Styanamidham means the physical and mental lethargy, physical and mental uh, lack of clarity. It is compared like the uh, surface of the lake being covered by weeds. When the lake is covered by weeds, we don't see anything what is in the bottom. Impossible. Even the fish, big fish, we won't be able to see if it is lake is covered by the weeds. Now, what is the cause of lethargy, and what is the opposite of lethargy, mental and physical? We should see very clearly. Of course, the opposite of lethargy is the clarity. This clarity is the wisdom or dharma pravichaya, or the understanding of the dharma, the penetration of the dharma, or seeing things as they are. When we see things as they are, we are not too much subjected to our obsession with liking and disliking. We become more detached. So everything is connected. All the bad factors of the mind, they are connected. All the good factors of the mind, they are connected. Now, the bad factor of the mind connected always with the lack of sensitivity in mind and in the body is called in Sanskrit kausidyam. Kausidyam is very difficult to translate. In Chinese, they translate xie tai. It's okay, but it's still not maybe perfect translation. The perfect, maybe the best translation in English is negligence. Because we have no mindfulness, therefore our mind and body loses sensitivity, and so our mind sinks. When the mind and the body lose sensitivity, the body becomes heavy and the mind becomes sleepy, becomes not sensitive, because it loses mindfulness, it loses clarity. So the only way to get rid of this is to have the clear understanding. And clear understanding in Buddhism is, of course, based on mindfulness, ability to be mindful. When we are mindful, we will find a way to protect ourselves from this tendency to lose sensitivity of mind and body. So, according to Buddhist tradition, the way to get rid of tina mida, of sthana midam, of the heaviness of body and mind, of unsensitivity of body and mind, is aloka sanya, is the perception of light. When we have the perception of light, this like when the sun comes out, the whole country becomes clear. The colors have changed. The darkness disappears. So this heaviness of body and mind, this non-sensitivity of body and mind, is immediately removed when the light appears in the mind, aloka sanya, when we have perception of the light. So wisdom is the ultimate clarity of the mind, ultimate light of the mind. And when we don't have the wisdom at hand, and it often happens in meditation also, so we just take some outer phenomena connected with light, sun, moon, lamp. And if even that does not work well, then it is very difficult. We can have a cold shower or just take a rest. It's all right, and continue again when we feel more, when we have more mindfulness, more clarity in mind. So this is the third thing, the third obstacle, the lethargy of body and the mind. Now, according to some tradition, like the Visuddhimagga, both lethargy of body and the mind, they are akusala, they are not convenient, not they are unwholesome. According to other tradition like Vimuttimagga or like Abhidharma Kosha, they are actually neutral. When we do heavy work, we become naturally tired in the body, but it does not mean necessarily that we lose our mindfulness. So there is a difference. We don't want to go into detail, but generally this unsensitivity of the mind is always unwholesome. We should try to counter it, and the best means to counter it is the light of wisdom. That is the best of all lights. So now we come to the fourth obstacle. And the fourth obstacle is the udacha kukucha, audatyam kaukrityam, the excitement and worry. Excitement and worry is the state of compared to like there is a whirlwind, the water is actually the if I remember well, the second obstacle is like boiling water. And the fourth obstacle, the excitement and worry, is like whirling water. That one I may be mistaken. That makes more sense. The hate is like boiling water. When the water is boiling, we don't see the bottom. And the excitement and worry is like whirling water. We don't see the bottom. And when we don't see the bottom, so the opposite of the sinking of the mind is rising, udaya. And that is excitement. The mind is rising. In Abhidharma, in Pali Abhidharma, you will find a very nice simile. Like if you have uh, the hill of dust, and you throw a stone on it, then the dust will all start flying around. The similar feeling is the excitement. The hate is like poison being pumped into our blood, according to Abhidhamma, and excitement is this poison is also being in the blood, also causes big excitement. And the excitement and worry, they are connected like lethargy of body and the mind is connected. When our mind becomes lethargic, the body becomes lethargic. When our body is lethargic, unless we have wisdom, deep seated wisdom, then also the mind automatically will become also lethargic, also not sensitive. So We don't want the blood in our, we don't want poison in our blood, we will suffer. Then also we don't want the whirlwind in our mind. It will cause us to suffer. So the excitement, normally we would think, and it would be quite natural, that the opposite of the kama raga is the concentration. But the Pali Abhidhamma puts the opposite of, there is some reason in it, opposite of kama raga, of the desire to possess the qualities of the five objects of the senses, puts concentration, good concentration, samadhi, which balances the mind. Now, I engage interpretation available. Click here to get started. Language interpretation available. Okay. What is happening? Original audio. Oh, better leave it. Anyway, so we are now with excitement and worry. The opposite of excitement and worry is actually the happiness, according to the Pali tradition. Why? Because when we are happy, when we are happy, we feel very stable. There is a difference between joy and happiness, between priti and sukha. Sukha in in Sanskrit means actually the good state. Good state is a stable state. Su means good, ka means actually heaven. Dukkha is a bad state, bad heaven. Sukha is a good heaven. Good heaven is stability. When we have sukha, when we have happiness.
Chị Hà ơi, chị nhầm kênh rồi. Kênh sang kênh tiếng Việt đi ạ.
When we have happiness, in according to Sanskrit tradition, the happiness means the good state of all mental factors which make a content of the mind. The stability and good state of all mental factors which make the content of the mind. That means the mind is stable, the sensation is stable, the perception is stable, the will is stable, the attention is stable. So there is no place for excitement and no place for worry. But of course, also the opposite of the excitement is also concentration. When we have correct concentration based on correct mindfulness, then naturally we become stable. When we don't have correct mindfulness, when our attention is obsessed by desire or by by liking or disliking, we lose stability. When our attention is not obsessed by liking and disliking, we keep stability. So our mental factors, especially our sensation and our attention, our perception will become very stable. So we don't let the state of excitement to continue. And worry literally means the thinking that what I should do, I don't do, what should be done has not been done, what should have been done has not been done, what I should do, I don't do. This is kaukrityam. This is doing wrong. Because we do something wrong, we have worry. And we have worry because we have excitement in the mind. So this is a logic. And when we have excitement, our mind starts floating. When we have no sensitivity, our mind starts sinking. Laya in Sanskrit, udaya, rising, falling. So this is another way. All the obstacles in some way, they connected with the identifying with liking and disliking, and they are also connected with the tendency of the mind either to go up, rising, excitement, like when we throw a stone on a heap of dust, or sinking, like we throw stone on the water, it will start sinking. It is because it is very heavy. And so when the mind is sinking, it loses sensitivity of mind and body. And when the mind is rising up, it easily identifies with liking and disliking and becomes also easily excited. Because it thinks of what I should do and I am not doing, what I should not do, but I am doing. That is excitement. So it makes sense. The opposite is sukha, because a sukha is a stable state, a good state of all the mental factors. So it is a stable state. It is as opposed to priti, as opposed to joy. Joy is not stable state. It needs sukha to become more stable. The joy needs happiness to become stable. The joy means rejoicing at something. When we rejoice at something, it does not mean that the mind is stable. Only when we stay stable with our pleasant sensation, with our present perception, then we become stable in a pleasant sensation. That is sukha. And then this pleasant sensation can penetrate the whole body. Here it means the whole body of the mental factors. In Sanskrit, the kaya means body, but kaya has a similar meaning also as aggregate, because a body is an aggregate of all parts, legs, arms, head, and so on. Similarly, the happiness is the happiness of and fulfillment of all the mental factors, which then make the mind very stable, and the body also becomes very stable. The body becomes very stable because of the mind being stable. And again, the mind is influenced by the stability of the body. They are always connected together. In the language of Dharma, like a blind man and a cripple. The eye without the mind does not see anything, and the cripple without the eyes cannot go anywhere. So our situation is the cripple and blind man being together. This comparison comes very often in Buddhist literature. Now we come to the last obstacle. Last obstacle is called the vicikicca. Vicikicca means doubt. Doubt is also kind of a state of excitement. It is compared in scriptures, if I remember well, like the wind moving the surface of the water. When the wind moves the surface of the water, we also don't see the bottom. So doubt also is kind of disturbance of the mind, obstacle of the mind. But again, very important to see, according to Abhidharma, not all doubt is negative. Those of us who have learned the Zen, Chan, there is a great doubt. Who am I? What am I? This great doubt can be the motivating power of our deep practice. We want to find out the great I. According to Buddhism, the great I is the ungraspable I. The ungraspable I is no I. So, with such a motivation, the doubt can become very positive, motivating power for our practice. But this is what is meant here is a wrong doubt. And what is a wrong doubt? According to Abhidhamma, it is the past 5 aggregates, present 5 aggregates, future 5 aggregates, dependent origination. Are the past aggregates connected with the present aggregate? Are the present aggregates connected with the future aggregate? Is there a dependent origination? Uh, does the Buddha teaching make any sense? Buddha's teaching is a dependent origination, finally, as far as world is concerned. And without understanding the world, we cannot understand what is beyond the world. And, of course, then the skillful means the Buddha has taught to lead us away from ignorance. If one doubt about it, if one doubt what is one doing, should I meditate or should I not meditate, then how can one continue in meditation? Or how can one stabilize the mind? And without stabilizing the mind, there is no vipassana. There is no wisdom. So we need to stabilize the mind. We need to appease the mind to be able to apply wisdom to our experience. If we doubt, then our experience will always be not clear. That is the samshaya, that is a doubt. Not experiencing clearly, because not seeing clearly. For the Buddhist, seeing clearly is seeing the interdependence of the past and the present, the past sensation with the present sensation with the future sensation, past perception with the present perception with the future perception. That is the most important part of wisdom. According to that, then we can penetrate the defiling factors. When we have penetrated the defiling factors of mind, then just like when we practice yoga, when we have identified the troubles of the body, we can work with the body more effectively. When we have identified the disturbing factors of the mind, we can work effectively with them. When we have not identified them correctly, when we have doubt about them, when we have doubt that our present obstacles are connected with our past experience and our present obstacles are connected with our future experience, we are deluded. And according to Buddhism, why are we deluded? Because we believe that which is impermanent to be permanent, that which is not lasting happiness is a lasting happiness, that which is a non-self is a real self, the self being something that does not change, that dwells in its own nature. And then, of course, we identify with the impure and grasp it as being pure, as being the object of purification. So, trouble is the greatest of all teachers. But we have to understand his causes. Only then it will become the greatest of all teachers. If we don't have trouble and don't understand the causes of trouble, the small trouble becomes a great trouble. And we learn Shamatha especially for the purpose of not letting the small trouble become a great trouble. And the small trouble will not become a great trouble if we counter the 5 obstacles with, this is the Abhidhamma teaching, with the 5 factors of the first dhyana. The vitarka, vichara. When we have vitarka, when we apply our mind to the object we need, then there is no doubt, because we don't use correctly vitarka and vichara, so we have doubt. When there is vichara, the mind becomes stable. When the mind is stable, then it can experience real happiness. Then vitarka, vichara, priti, when the mind has joy, it will not identify with the unpleasant feeling and try to remove it by force. When the mind has a sukha, when mind has happiness, it will naturally become stable and not identify with worries and not identify with excitement easily. And the one-pointedness of mind is, of course, the base for shamatha. Without the one-pointedness of mind, no shamatha. But the one-pointedness of mind is a gradual process. It is not that we immediately get the one-pointedness of mind. Even when we become great meditators, this one-pointedness of mind will not be still our habit. It will not always accompany us. We will not always be in samadhi. But when we practice shamatha, we will not let these 5 obstacles last for long. They will come, but will not last. And when we combine the training in shamatha with vipassana, then we will learn from these obstacles. Not only we not let them last, but we will learn from them. So that these obstacles, eventually, this is the training of bodhisattva, will stop bothering them, so we will not be so much concerned with ourselves. We will be able to devote ourselves for the good of others. So that much for today. Next week we will start with question and answers. We have covered the 5 obstacles, how to deal with them, and why we should deal with them, so as to live a more fulfilled life. Okay, so let us now transfer merit for the benefit of all sentient beings. 愿以此功德普济一切，我等一众生皆空成佛道。May the merits of this Dharma spread to all beings so that we attain the state of perfect realization. Om Mani
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dhammadipa. And Hong, can you screen? And so we will dedicate.
Okay, so please you do some Tibetan.
Yes, yeah. So I will chant in Tibetan, so everyone can see the Vietnamese, the translations, and so you all can join. Dong rin ten be me zhen zhi blen zhuo, me nga zhen ben te zong mo nan zhong, gong zhong wen jie lo ji shen sa, xie ra sun jie nang wan jian ba xiu. Lama Gugan Sangwa Soande. Next page.
Next page. How do I get? Oh, okay. Now we can see.
Lama, yes. Lama Gugan Sangwa Soande. Chondong Kuze Ringwa Soande. Tenlen Tarshin Jembar Soande. Laman dan jawa member jinji lo pemeren lo nganjun zomban che nyedun nyimbo shindan du shomle kanje samderen denba sindenba mino shidan chunben zengyur chi Ken lo che som rin lo che zam le sa son cha pa zhōn jun shō son na wan ta min zhan tu son je le. Thank you very much, everyone, all those participants today, and especially thank you very much your very precious teachings, Dhammadipa. And
So,
we would like to inform everyone we will continue the next session in the next Tuesday. Until then,
Và cảm ơn thầy rất nhiều, và tuần sau chúng ta sẽ tiếp tục với buổi học này vào giờ này.
and until then, and I think we are almost in the end of the year, so I would like to wish you
Ờ,
happy
cho
new
đến buổi học tuần sau thì tôi nghĩ rằng là hôm nay chúng ta có cái buổi học của cuối năm dương lịch này, nên tôi muốn nhân dịp này gửi lời chúc mừng đến tất cả chúng ta, lời chúc mừng năm mới.
okay, Happy New Year, everybody, and
Thầy cũng chúc mừng năm mới đến tất cả chúng ta. Happy New Year.
we'll see you next week.
Year.
Bye.
See you soon. Have a good night. Bye.
Chúc cả nhà đón năm mới an lành.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Thank
New
you very
Year.
much
Thank
for
you.
your precious teaching.
Thank you everyone.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Something. Yay.
你几号？七。
Okay.
Xin chào Kenpo.
Xin chào fan đi chi
Xin chào, xin chào.
Con là chi. Chi ta cả cái chi.
Thì xanh lại là vô nghĩa.